Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, I come before you with wonderful, wonderful news. That Wailord V card I told you about, it started doing some winning over in Japan. Shout out to the lovely Talonite X for hooking us up with a deck list where it's gone and won a tournament over in Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, I am absolutely delighted. Because, you know, I absolutely love me some Wailord. Now, if we remind ourselves what Wailord actually does, what we've got here is 280 HP, which on a 2-prize Pokemon is absolutely flat out ridiculous. It is just silly. Now, in terms of attacks here, the first attack lets you attach free water energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Now, frankly, ladies and gentlemen, this is an awesome, wonderful thing. This is how we get set up. This is how we get rolling. It really is as simple as that. It is making sure that you've actually got all of the energy you need to get set up and get going. And that's amazing, right? That is absolutely amazing. It means you can actually legitimately use this Wailord. Don't underestimate that at all. This is how you get rolling, alright? It's too expensive generally, but because you can attach free water energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon, it means you've actually legitimately got a shot at getting it rolling. Now, it's not the only energy acceleration we play, we'll get there in a minute, but it means if you go second, there is a genuine chance you can end your first turn with 4 water energy attached to this and then be rolling. Now, the main attack here is 4 water energy. It is expensive, but we've got options. And you flip 3 coins, doing 120 damage for each heads that you flip. Now, all 3 heads will one-hit KO anything, though it's not terribly likely. But 2 heads will KO an awful lot of relevant stuff, and that's generally what we're going for. Now, in terms of other Pokemon, this is not a particularly varied Pokemon line. We've got a bit of consistency we'll get to in a minute, and we got a Frostmoth line. Frostmoth is the one that lets you attach as much energy as you like during your turn, as long as it is water energy, and it is attached to benched water Pokemon. And that really is the goal here, right? It is all about trying to make sure that you're getting your Wailord rolling. Wailord is your attacker here. Technically, Frostmoth does have an attack, but 2 energy, 30 damage. If you're desperate or you happen to leave your opponent with 30 HP remaining, fine. Outside of that, no. You're using Frostmoth to get Wailord rolling. And as much as I like the first attack, and as much as the first attack can get Wailord rolling, and it can, it's not terribly realistic, shall we say. It's definitely a case of you're going to need Frostmoth more often than not. And then outside of that, we got 2 Dedenne, discard your hand, draw 6 cards, and 2 Crobat, just like the old Shaman. When you play it from your hand to your bench, you draw till you've got 6 cards in your hand. Though worth reminding ourselves that you can only play 1 Crobat during your turn, though this deck does only play 1 Crobat. And they're really just for consistency. You don't really ever want to play those cards. The deck, as a general rule, is just Frostmoth accelerating energy onto Wailord, and Wailord smashing. Cool. Now, in terms of energy, you just play a boatload of water energy. There's nothing else that you need here. You just play a whole bunch of water energy and roll from there. And it really is as simple as that. Now, in terms of trainer cards, honestly, a lot of this is going to be what we expect, but there are a couple slightly unusual things. First of all, and a lot of you probably realize this was going to be in there, Toughness Mantle or Toughness Cape, however you want to translate it. It is a new Pokemon tool that gives a basic non-GX Pokemon an extra 50 HP. So Wailord all of a sudden goes up to 330 HP, and that just means there's so little that'll get a one-hit KO. Some of you out there might be going, yeah, Wassy, but it's weak to Pikachu and Zekrom. Well, yes, it is. But firstly, if you flip 2 heads, you get a one-hit KO. Secondly, Pikachu and Zekrom post-rotation are losing Electro Power. By the time we get it, they won't have Electro Power. So what that means is that if you've got a toughness mantle on, then either they need to have a tool scrapper, or they need to use their GX attack, or they're not getting a one-hit KO. And remember, at this stage, they give up 3 prizes. You only give up 2. That's kind of important. The other very important card we see here is Glimwood Tangle. It is the stadium version of the old Victini. It lets you reflip coins for the attack. Now remember the very important distinction here. The attack for Wailord is flip 3 coins. If you reflip with Glimwood Tangle, you reflip all 3 coins. You don't get to just pick and choose. It still only gives you a 1 in 4 chance of actually hitting treble heads. But remember, in a lot of matchups, double heads will be enough. Double heads will get anything except some tag teams and all VMAXs. So that, a lot of the time, is going to carry you through. The other card that we don't see played in many lists, although is kind of standard in Frostmoth decks, is Capacious Bucket. And I'm willing to bet that not a single person alive actually thought this was going to be the translated name of this particular card. Capacious Bucket just lets you search for 2 water energy cards and put them into your hand. It is great energy search as long as you're only searching water energy, but you are only ever searching water energy, so it's great energy search. There is clearly a very, very good combo here with Frostmoth, so I wouldn't argue with it if I were you. And I suppose it is worth pointing out we do play energy retrieval here as well. It's all very well and good getting our energy out of our deck, but sooner or later it's going to end up being discarded. It's going to end up in our discard pile, at which point we need to get it back from our discard pile, and that's where a couple copies of energy retrieval come in so gosh darn nicely. Now, in terms of Pokemon search, we play 4 copies of Quick Ball, which really shouldn't surprise you very much at all, because, I mean, it's not entirely a basic deck here, but it's largely a basic deck, other than Frostmoth. And then we do play a couple copies of Pokemon Communication that let you switch a card in your hand, a Pokemon card, for a Pokemon card in your deck. Because, you know what? That could get you your Frostmoth. Now, there aren't that many Pokemon in the deck. There's only 13 total, so you're not always going to have a great option for it. So there is a copy of Evolution Incense here that will just flat out search the Frostmoth. Obviously, Pokemon Communication is generally better, because you could switch any Pokemon for a turn 1 Wailord, but the fact of the matter is, with 13 Pokemon in the deck, you're not always going to have a Pokemon to actually use it with. You've been warned. Now, because of the high retreat and all of that, and only being able to attach energy to bench Pokemon, we do play 4 copies of Switch here, and Air Balloon makes an appearance as well. Air Balloon will give free retreat to Frostmoth, which is awesome. It won't help for Wailord, but that's really not the end of the world. Will be okay. And then the Pokemon line does look extremely similar to the vast majority of decks out there. We're playing Professor's Research, discard your hand, draw 7 cards. Fastest, most aggressive supporter we've seen really ever. We're playing Marnie here. Both players shuffle a hand and put them on the bottom of their deck. You get 5 cards, your opponent gets 4. It's nice for draw while having a little bit of disruption as well. And then, of course, we've got Boss's Orders, which will grab a Pokemon from your opponent's bench and drag them into the active. These are the free supporter cards we see in basically every deck. I mean, sometimes Professor's Research doesn't get played because it could lead to awkward discard, but that's fairly standard. There are some weirder cards here, like Toughness Mantle, like Capacious Bucket, like Glimwood Tangle. But to be honest, even the weirder cards here, the second you see the deck, you're like, oh yeah, no, we have to play those cards. I love this deck. And I'll be honest with you, I love Wailord, and I love Wailord V, and I love my daughter's Wailord plush that for a long time was bigger than she was. She has beaten it now. She grows. That's kind of what kids do. And I want Wailord V to be good. And I can't sit here and tell you this is definitely going to be a powerhouse best deck in the format, but I can tell you that this looks like it's got a really good chance to be good, and I can also tell you that if you want to play Wailord, this is a very, very good deck list you can use to start your testing, which is a goal here, right? I'm trying to show you every new deck coming out of Japan, so that when our sets drop, when Darkness Ablaze comes out, etc., anyone who comes to my channel can go, right, I want to try and build a Wailord V deck. oh, Wassey's got a Wailord V list, and even if you don't use it exactly, it gives you an excellent, excellent starting point. And in terms of post-rotation, this deck will work just fine post-rotation. I don't think you're actually losing a single solitary card from the entire deck. This is a post-rotation list. Cool. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassey, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.